URC Power Rankings for round number 10, folks. Kind of a awkward period in the URC when you've got a bunch of guys out with their Six Nations teams. It's been a while since we've seen any URC action, so these Power Rankings have had a large gap between this installment and the previous one, but we'll go through them. You guys can let us know your thoughts on how the teams are lining up as we head towards the kind of second half of the season, well into the second half of the season. Also, I should say, remember there were two kind of make-up games in the in-between period with the Lions having to play twice against the Sharks and the Bulls. So, yeah, she's been a little bit messy. But what's consistent is Zebre, bottom of the log on the power rankings. They've had one win this season, which is better than last season. And they got a losing bonus point against Edinburgh at the weekend. So, 13-3 lead. They would have been optimistic of a second win at one point, especially when Edinburgh had a yellow card, but Zebre couldn't capitalise it, ended up losing it kind of up front at the death. So, sadly for the Zebre boys, it is another loss, and another loss for the Sharks. The Sharks, that squad, which is so star-studded, has had one URC win all year. They are 1 win, 9 losses. They lost at home to the Stormers in front of a big crowd there in Durban. Bad start to the game. They managed to wrestle some momentum back. There's a new 10 in town. I forget his name. Came on for Killen Bosch and bossed the game around a bit better, but a little bit too little, too late for the Sharks boys. We'll see how long John Plumtree can hang on, because this season has not been to the return to Durban that he would have liked. The Scarlets got pumped 42-7 at home. Joe Roberts scored a cracker of a try in a otherwise pretty forgettable evening for the Scarlets guys. They are 2 wins and 8 losses. And then the Dragons also got pretty well pumped, 40 points to 7. Main difference being their game was away. They didn't lose at home. They went up to Glasgow and got pretty well beaten. They were 14-0 down after 3 minutes, which is not really the way you want to start the game against one of the top teams, but what can you say? I mean, they did get one try, one disallowed try, so they kept fighting, but ultimately pretty well beaten. And another of the Welsh teams got Cardiff here in 12th. Cardiff and all these teams that I've mentioned so far, this is the same spot they were in the last power ranking, so nobody has changed, maybe partly because all these teams lost. I mean, they had a 14th minute red card to Ray Lilo, which obviously didn't help. They managed a 12-6 lead at one point, but couldn't hold on against the Conik boys. If there'd been no red card, who knows? But yeah, at least a losing bonus point, if nothing else. The Lions are the first team to actually move on the power rankings this week. They are down 2 spots. Remember, they've played a few games in the meantime. Their most recent couple, I think, was a couple of losses against the Bulls, right? So, best crowd, I think, in Joburg for a while. Joburg, with that big stadium, tends to look, I mean, it's just one of those, like Super Rugby, one of those situations where you've got a huge stadium, and even if there's 10,000 people there, 12,000, 15,000, it just looks empty. But this one looked, as I say, the best. It wasn't a sellout by any means, but it certainly looked the best crowd in Joburg for quite some time. But, I mean, they were 20 points to 3 down with 10 minutes left in the game. So the home crowd didn't have a heck of a lot to cheer about. Sadly, they did get a consolation try, but it wasn't the last try of the game. The Bulls still had the last laugh. So the Lions have been kind of threatening to improve for a while, but this is a little bit of a setback for them, especially at home. Munster, I've got in 10th. They are up in the power rankings, up 1 spot. Remember, their record in the URC is not great this year. It's 5 wins, 4 losses, and a draw. So it's been, I mean, they've had a bit of an injury toll, to put it mildly, but yeah, it's been not the kind of back up to a championship season that they would have liked, but hey, they are up 1 spot in the power rankings. You can't keep Gavin Coombs off the scoreboard. He bags a couple of tries. All the tries initially were through their forwards. I mean, even one that was set up by the backline was finished by Ahern. So yeah, the Munster forwards had a bit of a field day in the end with their 42-7 win. The backs did get on the board towards the end of the game though, so not just about the forwards. Another Irish team in Ulster. Ulster, I've got down a whopping 5 spots, which is a lot for power rankings terms, but there's a lot of teams in the similar kind of win-loss record that Ulster have got at the minute. Ulster are at 6 wins and 4 losses. which is a very common record at the moment. They lost to the Ospreys. They were away from home. This is maybe the game of the round, based on what I've seen of it. It was really even. It looked like they'd won it with a few minutes to go with a late penalty. They scored the first try of the game. They were 15v13 for a while. It looked like they had it in the bag, but the Ospreys were not to be counted out. So, yeah, the Ulster boys will be disappointed to lose that one. But, yeah, losing bonus point, if nothing else. Next one, we got Conik, who are up in the power rankings this week, up 2 spots. Their win over Cardiff sees them up. Again, I mentioned they had an extra man for much of the game, so maybe they would have liked to get it done by a bit more. They had a 2-man advantage for a while. They were down at halftime, managed to come back for a win. Hanrahan with the boot seemed to do some pretty good work, so that's a kind of positive that you certainly take. The result's the only thing that really matters. The Stormers are up 1. The Stormers, like Connacht and like Ulster, these guys are all at 6-4 for their season, so just kind of one win to the good. But the Stormers went to Durban. They had a really good start to the game. They looked dominant. The Sharks pushed back. They scored an early second half try. It looked like the Stormers would push on to get a bonus point. Didn't end up happening, but they managed to hold on for the win, which is the main thing. But yeah, it kind of maintained that momentum. Can prove to be, I guess, a bit of a tricky one across the 80. The Ospreys are another 6-4 team and certainly flying the flag for Welsh club rugby at the minute with their win. Their record is 6-4, so the only Welsh team who's got a positive record, up 1 in the power rankings, 1917 win over Connacht. I mean, that late Dan Edwards drop goal is just what it's all about, isn't it? I mean, why don't teams kick more drop goals? But anyway, they finished it really, really bloody well. I mean, they scored, when it was 14-14, they scored a coast-to-coast try. It was an intercept. It was, I think, Kieran Williams that finished it. Yeah, man. Ulster, maybe, from what I've seen, because I haven't seen the whole game, looked like they potentially should have scored some points, but the Ospreys boys kept fighting. The home crowd loved it. So, yeah, up 1 in the power rankings. 6-4 is their record. Benetton drop. Now, it's kind of a sad one because Benetton, I had them really highly ranked on the power rankings. Their record's been phenomenal. Then we get to the Six Nations. So both Leinster and Benetton were fielding different squads from maybe what we'd be used to. So it wasn't quite this top of the table clash I was hoping for. And they got pumped. 47 points to 18. I mean, Mendy got a couple of tries. The game was still relatively close at halftime, but second half, Leinster really blew them away. So down 4 spots. Their record is still very good. 7 wins, 2 losses, and a draw. So they've actually got a better record than some of the teams that I've got ranked above them. But you know how the power rankings work. We're kind of looking at a bit more recency bias. So yeah, some of the teams with very similar records are ranked slightly higher. Which includes Edinburgh, who are up 2 spots. It was a bit of a ropey win over the Zebre boys, but they were 16-10 down. Patterson had just got himself a yellow card. There wasn't that long to play, but the Fords fronted up and got themselves 2 tries, so it's an away win. Their record is 7-3, so nothing to be sniffed at. Glasgow, the other Scottish side, and how pleasing is it to see these 3 sides in a row from that kind of Italian-Scottish shield. But Glasgow up 2 spots. They 40 points to 7. Smashed the Dragons boys. Mackay had a try within 30 seconds. They were 2 tries up after about 3 minutes. McDowell got 2. Mackay got 2. Cordero got 1. It was an absolute, try fest for the Glasgow boys. So 7-3 is their record as well. Also, the Bulls are at 7-3 now that they've caught up in terms of the number of games. It was great to see guys like Moody and Curtly Ahrens are back. Moody got himself a try early. Looked like he'd been just caught, but was able to get back up because he wasn't held. Showed a bit of gas. Scored a good maul try. David Creel with the bonus point one was a proper thing of beauty at the death. So 25 points to 10 away winners over the Lions. A few away Bulls fans there in Joburg as well, which is pleasing. But it is Leinster who go number 1, up 1 in the power rankings. They are 8-2. They have the best record in the URC. Down early against Benetton, but didn't take them long to get themselves into the lead. Close at halftime, but the class over the 80 minutes was just too much, man. The likes of McGrath, Jenkins, Penny, Prendergast when he came on. Really, really classy. So there you go, folks. URC power rankings for round 10. We get back into Six Nations mode this coming weekend, so that's probably where my attention is going to be focused, but we'll continue to follow the URC throughout the season. And remember, Super Rugby starts this weekend as well. So if you want to support a Super Rugby team and you don't have one, can I suggest the Blues? They may end up disappointing you, but you and me can kind of share a bit of grief together. You guys take care, and I'll talk to you guys again soon. See you later.